Hey folks, we are back to dive into the depths of the abyss.
The abyss.
Owen has taught me a new game, and this is a good. I'd say it's really pretty quick, especially at two players. It's really quick. Mm-hmm. Does it do one player too?
No, it's 2 to 4. But yeah, fairly fast, but surprisingly light game for what it looks like. Like you bring this out and it's abyss, and you got this big, wild looking. I don't know. Yeah,
it looks like a deep one.
Yeah, it's like Ursula from from The Little Mermaid, but like the real version or something instead of the cartoon one. Gorgeous artwork on it that this is deceptively a light game, but not the lightest game, but still light. I would consider it light. Yeah.
I think there's a decent amount of strategy to it, but boy, the artwork is stunning. Mm-hmm. Really, really nice. If you're into this sea monster art,
oh yeah,
definitely you'll definitely enjoy it. Now, it reminds me a bit of actually a little bit of Seven Wonders. You haven't played Seven Wonders yet.
I have not. Unfortunately, I should have played it by now, but I still have it in some wrapping on my shelf of shame.
We'll break that out. That's a fun one to play, mm-hmm. but it's a little bit like Seven Wonders in that with the way you pay for cards based off the resources you already have, which are these little cards here, and then also the points values at the top. And I guess also they're in little categories and stuff, like color-coded categories, which mm-hmm. is a little bit similar to that too, but that's sort of where the similarity ends, but that does something about the points and the way you purchase them.
It gives you a similar feel.
Yeah, it reminds mm-hmm. me of that a little bit.
Yeah, so you've got 5 different colors that all have a certain, they're like kind of like a race or something that are going to include all of these ally cards that are going to pop up, and you're going to use these, like you said, for resources, and each one is going to have a point value on it, 1 to 5 of the different colors, and you're going to have a little bit of a somewhat of a drafting kind of thing going on, where your opponent's going to get an opportunity to steal a card as you draw them out, and they go across this little drawing track, and they get first dibs on them, but they can only do it once. They have to pay one of their precious pearls to it if they want to steal one from you. And then you'll just continue going on, drawing these cards off the top. These basically, they call them allies, but they're basically the resources to purchase all of these lords, which is what you're going for to win the game. As soon as somebody gets 7, the game ends, and then you count up points. So it's possible that the person that gets 7 isn't going to be the winner necessarily if the other person's already set up in a way that's going to end up with more points at the end.
So you could try to rush the ending by hurrying up and buying 7, but you mm-hmm. might not be optimized enough to win. There's a lot of other little factors too, like these things have keys on them, and once you get 3 of these keys, either by the keys on the cards here, or the keys up here for defeating monsters, I guess, mm-hmm. Then you can pick up one of these things. These are lands. What those will do is they'll cover up some of the special abilities you got from drafting these lords. Mm-hmm. And but they'll give you some other little bonus at the bottom, which might be points for the end of the game, or maybe an ongoing effect in the game. I haven't read very many of these yet.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, they all refer to points at the end of the game that are based usually off of either the color type of the lords that you have already collected, or these affiliated allies. So every time you spend whatever the point value and the type requirements are to pick up a lord, when you've paid the requirement, you keep the lowest value ally, and that becomes an affiliated ally. And so one of the things that these areas are going to do is a lot of them give you a certain number of points based off of your affiliated allies that you have. Like, let's say one says that you get 3 points for every jellyfish affiliated ally, so that's one way that they could give you points. And then another way is that maybe they give you, 2 points for every type of merchant lord that you have. So every green lord that you have. So there's a lot of in-game point scoring that the areas can give you, and some of them are pretty big. Some of them I've had one that doubles the value of your most expensive lord that you have. So, and I had a 12-point lord, so I got the 12 points from him, and then the area was worth like another 24 points, I believe. So
wow.
It was either that or it was worth 12 points. But either way, even just the 12 points alone was an extra big chunk of points at the end.
Seems like there's a lot of ways to kind of like. I feel like you're really going to get a different game every time you play this, and it's there's a little bit of randomness in that the cards are coming out, but you do get to grab them away. I find it. I look forward to the times when it's not my turn, so I can really grab for sure grab a card that comes out that maybe I'm looking for.
And so one of the mechanics that's going on too is so on your turn you're either getting to go through this deck, drawing one card out at a time, and then you can choose to keep the card that you draw, or your opponent can spend a pearl to steal one once for you during your turn. But as these get drawn out, they're going to go across this board and fill up across, and whenever you decide to stop, you can pick that card up, but then the other cards that were left in that row that you didn't pick up, they then go face down into these stacks in the middle. And so your opponent might go, I want that card, but I don't want to pay a pearl for it. He doesn't look like he's going to go for it. I'll just wait. And then that'll go into a stack, and then on their turn, or your next turn or whenever, if there's a stack of cards sitting in this middle area, then you could snatch those as you draw instead of going through that deck. So I found that when we were playing, there was several times where I wanted a card that was drawn, but I didn't want to pay the pearl for it. And I was like, well, if he's not looking like he's going to get it, it's just going to go into that upside down stack that I get to just grab whenever I
and
want
then you
to
get maybe not as good a card set, but you'll get some freebies, and which help add into to getting the lords, which is really the point.
Yeah, and it might just be that you just need one red card for this guy right here. He requires a red and one other different color type to pay for him. So let's say you've got 7 points in yellow, and you just need that one red point crab card in order to be able to acquire him. And he just passed up a 1 point red card. It's like, well, I don't want to pay a pearl for a 1 point. I'm going to probably get it for free because he's not going to take it. And then that's that one example of how you can kind of play that card mechanic.
I think that'll probably comes up a lot more in the bigger play counts. With two of us, we'd get these little small stacks. But I bet if there were 4 people playing, that the stacks could potentially grow. Especially if there was maybe only mostly one color type out here to purchase, because they all have their like primary color.
Sure.
So if we're all going for pink, or none of us would be going for pink if they're like the way it is currently, because there's only reds and blues out. But so there could end up with like a stack of pink cards, but then you might grab them because later on it's useful.
Certainly possible. These guys really throw a little wrench in the gears, though, with the extra types that you need. So it's like if you got all those blues, but you need 2 other different types, then maybe you would want to grab some pinks for other things. So it's a lot of situational instances that go on where it just depends. But one thing is that you don't have a hand limit for your ally cards that you're hanging on to in the space game. And I know in at least one of the expansions that I don't have yet, they do institute a hand limit. I want to say it's like 12, though. It's still a pretty high one.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of cards.
It could be less than that. I may be off on that, but I know there's a hand limit that gets instituted. And that would, I almost feel like, you need some kind of a hand limit would be maybe a little bit better if the restrictions, because then it would make you take pause whenever you're seeing a big stack of ones sitting there, whether you're going to take them all or not. So,
well, that's great. This is a good, quick little game. It was extremely easy to pick up.
Yeah,
I feel like this is this could be a gateway game for someone. This could be that game that's like a little bit better, more complex than Monopoly. To kind of step up, or like, oh, you played Carcassonne. Well, have you seen Abyss?
Abyss, yeah. It would probably be a little intimidating just the look of it, but if you could get somebody to sit down for a minute, and if they could get past the beautiful artwork to the point that they say, oh, this is actually a fairly simple game.
Well, even when you have to read, like, the little blurbs on the bottom of these cards are just mostly 2 sentences. Mm-hmm. I mean, and they're not complicated. They spell out kind of pretty much exactly, what you do. Mm-hmm. So I haven't seen anything in here that makes me, like, feel intimidated. Well, we've played a lot of games, so none of this is going to scare me. But I feel like I could take this to my, like, my stepmother's house and play it with her. It's just simple enough, but crunchy enough to be entertaining if you play some games, but not so hard and not so long to be intimidating for new folks that you want to bring in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're gonna bring this over to your stepmother's house and be like, "Do you want to play Abyss?" And then she's gonna go, "God, there's Sean with another complicated game." If you can get her to sit down for 5 minutes, so you can teach the whole game. It's really simple.
It is quick.
And, one thing that we didn't go over though too is there is a like a little monster hunting track on here, and this is something that gets updated too in the expansions as well. Where the space game it's even more simple, where you have a very simple mechanic of getting the monster capturing hunting abilities or whatever showing up as you're drawing these ally cards out, and you get a little bit of bonus ability, extra pearls or keys, or you get to take these monster tokens that are worth a few points each. And it's such a simple part of the game that it's like, it almost feels like you want a little bit more. And if you do want a little bit more, then they have the Leviathan expansion, and you can go for that one. And I certainly will be as soon as I see it for a decent price.
Next time it's on sale, Owen is down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why people like this game so much. Mm-hmm. I think it's really accessible, really pretty, really exceptional artwork. Mm-hmm. I mean, I see a lot of board game artwork, but this is nice.
Yeah, it's a good combination of being like dark because you're in the depths, so you've got that kind of feeling of that diffused light of being down deep underwater.
Most of them look pretty grouchy too.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's also kind of bright too, though. So like it's dark and bright. Let's say you got these nice, bright greens on anything that's any of these merchant lords have a nice vibrant green that just happens to be underwater. The purples shine out a little better. They kind of have that almost bioluminescent pink or whatever that is showing off like a jellyfish would have. But yeah, I really enjoy the artwork, and for me, good theme, good artwork really sucks me into a game more than some of these really dry cube only kind of games that come out that are.
I feel like I offer a lot more forgiveness. Like if I thought this game was a little too light or something like that, I was to be like, well, it's really fun to look at. Mm-hmm. I think this really strikes a good balance, though, of being complex enough, but it's like it's that other game you play on game night.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I could get through three rounds of playing this game and not be burnt out and be satisfied, and say, oh, that was fun to play 3 full games of Abyss, especially at 2-player. I haven't played it at a higher player count yet, so I don't really see it dragging. I'd
be really curious to see how that goes with 4 people.
We'll have to bring it to our gaming group and see.
Does it go to 4 or 5?
It does go to 4. There is.
4. Yeah.
I believe one of the expansions takes it to 5, maybe 6. I can't remember. I could be wrong on that, but I think it at least takes it up one more. Can't remember if that's the Kraken or the Leviathan expansion though.
Well, yeah, I think this is great. Thank you, Owen, for showing me this one.
You're welcome. Thanks for playing it with me. It's been enjoyable to get out each time I've had it out. So.
Yeah,
always a pleasure.
Awesome. Well, folks, that's all we have for you today. We'll be back soon with more videos. Until next time, enjoy your games, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.